Well, I haven't done a laptop video in quite a while, and the main reason for that is that I haven't actually added any new laptops to my collection, my little collection, for quite a while. However, this one was recently donated to me. I didn't pay anything for it. It was completely free, and very grateful to the guys at the IT recycling firm that I used to work for many years ago. Apparently they had some laptops come in, much more modern than this one, and this one was amongst them, and they asked me if I would like it, and I said, well, yes please, I would, thank you very much. So we'll let it come round, and we'll open the lid up, and we'll talk a bit about it, and I'll give you the specs, and we'll go around it and have a look at the features and take it from there. So what is this rather large machine? Well, it is a Thinkpad. It's not an IBM Thinkpad, it's a Lenovo Thinkpad. Now, I generally prefer the older IBM Thinkpads, and I'm not particularly interested in the Lenovo ones. But for those of you who are unaware, basically IBM sold their PC manufacturing business, which included the Thinkpad line of laptops, to Lenovo in 2005. Lenovo, a Chinese company, and they took on the manufacturing of various products that IBM sold to them. And the Thinkpad laptop range, as I said, was one of them. So what's this then? Well, this is one of the first Lenovo Thinkpads. This is an R61 Thinkpad, and this was produced by Lenovo in 2007. So it's only a couple of years after Lenovo actually took over the manufacture of these things. And this is quite a nicely spec'd machine for the time period. It's got a 15.4 inch TFT display, which gives it a maximum resolution of 1280 by 800. It's got an Intel Core 2 Duo T7300 2 GHz processor. It's only got 1 gig of RAM in it. I don't know whether that was standard or whether this one's just had some of the RAM taken out, because that does seem a little bit on the low side. It's got an 80 gig hard drive and various ports, which I'll go into. We'll have a closer look at those. But it does have such modern conveniences as a fingerprint scanner, which is this little thing here. We'll have a closer look at that in a minute. It's got built-in Wi-Fi, so it's full-size keyboard. Very nicely spec machine. There's no camera on this one. I believe that was an option with the R61, but this particular one doesn't have a camera. It would have come with Windows Vista installed on it, which there's a little label there, Microsoft Vista, which in my opinion, along with Windows 8, are two of the most appalling operating systems that Microsoft ever produced in their entire history, and need to be forgotten about immediately. But fortunately, a couple of years later, 2009, Windows 7 came out, and Windows 7, in my opinion, is one of the better operating systems that Microsoft ever produced. In fact, I think it's quite possibly one of the best. And that's what I've installed on here. I've put Windows 7 on it, which is quite appropriate for the laptop and the time period, because obviously later this would have still been in production when Windows 7 came out, and people would have installed it on this particular laptop. Let's have a closer look at it. Very nice keyboard. There's quite a lot of travel on the keys, good feel to them. Obviously it's not a mechanical keyboard, but it's not half bad for a laptop keyboard. It's got the standard Thinkpad track point joystick in the middle of the keyboard, but if you don't want to use that, you've also got the option of this glide pad, which I don't like either of them. Neither options are anywhere near as good as a mouse, but there you go, it's a laptop. It's also got the fingerprint scanner over here. I'll close it now, have a look at that. And that actually does work, because I did set it up. I haven't got it engaged, but I did set it up, and it does actually work. Basically, you put your finger in this little depression here, like that, and then you slide it over the reader, and yeah, it does actually work. Quite an amazing bit of technology, I think, for the time, but more of an annoyance really than anything else. As I said, I haven't got it engaged. So we'll just go around the sides and look at the various ports. So there's not much on the front. You've got the lid latch release, which is there, and then if you come along a little bit and we go down and have a look there, hiding just down there is an SD card slot. So there you go. So we'll come around to the other side. Looking from the front, we're now looking at the right hand side, and it has a very nice slim combined DVD CDRW optical drive, and over on this end we have two USB-A ports. There we go. And that's about all it's got on this side. And also there's not an awful lot happening on the back. We'll have a quick look. Basically on the back all you've got is a PS2 mouse socket, and moving along to the other end you've got the power jack. This will be the left hand end looking from the front, and this is really where all the action is port wise, and we'll close it and have a look at those. Starting from the left hand end, we have an external VGA monitor socket. Then we've got modem port, Ethernet port. The two outputs are microphone and speaker, the two audio jacks. We've got another USB-A port, and we have, I'm not sure, I think that's a card bus type 2 slot. Just one, there's just one there. PCMCIA type cards. But what is interesting is it even has, this is a Firewire port. So, you know, that's, Firewire 400, so that's IEEE 1394, I think it's 1394A. So that's kind of unusual to have a Firewire port or something like a ThinkPad. Normally, you know, that they're the domain of Apple computers, the Firewire ports. Quite unusual. And that's it really for the ports. Nothing much on the underside. You have the docking port connector here, and you have a little switch here which just disables the Wi-Fi. And that's really all there is. This is the battery here, which amazingly 18 years later still holds a charge, and it will actually run off the battery. For how long I haven't tested that, but it does run off the battery. Just before we turn it on, I thought you might like to know that if you wanted one of these in 2007, you would have had to cough up $1,119. And I would assume it would have been roughly the same, probably maybe a little bit more in UK pounds, £1,200 or whatever. Yeah. So these are not cheap, and bearing in mind of course that the R series of Lenovo laptops was in fact their cheaper range. So yeah, not cheap. Right, let's power it up. I've turned the video lights off because hopefully that you'll be able to see the screen a bit better that way. Right, there we go. You can just type in our password. I've left the SD card plugged in, and it's spotted that, so we'll just close that down. But yeah, there you go. It's quite a nice screen. I'm yeah, quite impressed with it. It's not that brilliant performance wise. As I say, it's only got 1 gig of RAM in it, so you know, it's yeah. This is one of my YouTube videos. It's an MP4 file, which it will play, but it runs out of memory, and occasionally you'll get glitches and all sorts of stuff. But it's yeah, it's not a bad screen.
Well, here's an interesting little electromechanical engine that I got off of eBay for next to nothing at all.
There you go. See, it's glitching already. That's basically just lack of RAM that's causing that problem. But it works, so you know. And it would be fairly easy to put more RAM in it. As I said, I'm not entirely sure whether the RAM, the 1 gig, is what it came with, or whether it's had some of it removed. So it may well be that it should have more RAM in it. I need to look up the standard spec on these on the Thinkpad wiki. But no, it's a nice addition to the collection. It's in very nice shape. Really, about the only thing wrong with it. Let's turn the lights back on. Really about the only thing wrong with it is the lid. The lid has 2 catches, and this one is broken. But they were quite flimsy on these, and that wasn't unusual for that to happen. But other than that, I can't really find anything else wrong with it. It seems to work fine. So I just thought you might be interested in have a look at it. I mean, you know, it's relatively speaking, it's still a vintage laptop. I mean, this is, well, where are we? This is 18 years old now. 18 years old. So yeah, it's a nice example of a laptop from quite a long time ago now, and I'm quite pleased to have it in my collection. So anyway, that about wraps it up for the Lenovo R61 ThinkPad. As always, hope you've found the video useful and possibly enjoyed it. Thanks very much for watching. Cheers.